Okie dokie, we are live. We are live. Hi. Dear Patreons, how are you? Are you there? Are you there? I give you a few more minutes. Okay, I hope you can hear me. If there is anyone there in the chat, let me know. Today we start with Scalar from VCV, an official VCV plugin. Thanks to you, of course. I could get it, I could buy it. This is the first video, a live stream. I thought I would make a live stream just for you guys. Clement, hey man. Hey, thanks for joining. So I thought the first video will be a live stream for you guys. There will come another video, sort of more of a tutorial video. Today we will just build a nice patch together, see what we can do. Can you hear me? Okay, Clement. Is there a sort of echo or something maybe? Let me know. Anyway, so Scalar is a quantizer. So it's a quantizer with 4 inputs and 4 outputs. Very nice. That they are also normalized. So when you put something in the first input, it will flow to all the other inputs and also the outputs. And it has a few really cool features. It can add a lot of an organic feel to the patch, to the sound, because it adds errors to the quantization. Let's start building a patch and we'll see what's going on here. So let's see. I thought maybe today I had an idea maybe to build something like this. So we will take let's take a sequencer. Let's use Arturia. Why not? I like the sequencer. It has a lot of cool things we can do with it. Let's set an 8-step sequence. I will just set the knobs here. Very nice. So this was the blue sequence. Let's change the yellow sequence to random. So now the knobs are attenuators. So we can control the range of the random signal. So let's just open all of them just a bit. All the knobs of the yellow sequence, the attenuators, and also raise the probability for those steps. Each step will have a different probability. Something like this. Very nice. And let's use a clock. Clement, do you have a BPM you want to use today? Let me know. Let me know. So anyway, I will wait for your BPM if you have an idea. If you have something that you want to use, I will wait for it, but we will send it to the clock. And from there, let's see. From there, it will go to Scalar to quantize the signal. Hey, Vim! Vim is also with us. 296 like Bukla. Ooh, 296. Let's see, 296, okay? So this will go to the clock. Let's say the normal clock for now. Very cool. Vim, thank you for joining, and thank you also for your support, guys. Really, this is an opportunity for me, those live streams, for you to say again thank you. It means really a lot to me. You guys are awesome, and we can make good things together. Okay, so Arturia. So the signal will go to the first input of Scalar, and like I said, the inputs and outputs are normalized. So now this input will flow to the other inputs and to the outputs. So let's see what we will do. So first of all, Scalar, as you can see, we have 8 numbers here. We have 1 until 8. Each number is an octave. So this will be 0 until 1. 2 will be 1 until 2 volts, 1 octave. And we have 8 octaves, which is a lot. Actually, we don't want, or we don't need 8 octaves usually. So what we can do, by left clicking, we can select the octave, and by holding control and clicking the octave, we can deactivate it. So let's use for now, let's say 2 octaves. We will select just 2 octaves, so the signal will be quantized from 0 until 2 volts, so 2 octaves. And in those octaves, we can also select the notes. Now, at first time that I looked at it, I thought to myself, wait a minute, why can I not see the keys? So which note is which? And that's actually because you can choose more than 12 notes here. You can choose up to 24 notes, from 1 to 24. And again, it will quantize it according to what you input here, and also the base pitch, let's say, or the frequency will be what you set on the oscillator. So if your oscillator is set to C, this will be your fundamental. If it's D, this will be your fundamental, and so on. So let's start with something really simple, like a minor scale. So we will go, let's say that this is C for this example. So C sharp we don't need. So what I do, I can again I hold control on the keyboard and I left click it to deactivate this note. And by just left clicking, I can select the note, I can see the sense, I can change it also, I can create offset. So let's see, C sharp we don't need in this case. Then we have D and D sharp or E flat. Then E we don't need, again, deactivate. Then F sharp or G flat, G, G sharp, A sharp, and B. So here we have the minor scale. It, again, depends on the note we set on our oscillator. If the note will be E, so it will be an E minor scale. If it's a G, it will be a G minor scale, and so on. Let's start adding voices and see why Scalar is so special. So let's add first one voice. Let's add, shall I use again the FM operators? I don't know, they sound good and they're easy to use, no need for so many modules. Let's use one just to see how it sounds like. So input 1, quantizer, output 1, or quantize 1 as it's called here, goes to the volt per octave. And then let's send this to the mixer. So we have 2 octaves. In each octave we have to enter the notes. So what I've done here, just the first octave, I set the scale. The second octave will play all the 12 notes, and this again we don't want in this case. So let's again deactivate the notes. C sharp in this case, D sharp, E, F, G, no, like this. Okay, and let's see here. So this is G sharp, like this, right? Yeah. Let's add some reverb. I love the FM operator. Amazing. So now we have the signal is quantized, and we can see exactly where the pitch is hitting also with this black dot. So what we can do now, we can select on Entropia. instead of switch, so the blue sequence and the yellow sequence will switch according to the probability knobs. We can choose add, so the voltages will add to one another. It will give us a higher pitch. Oh. So now let's add another octave. Let's add the third octave. So again, I hold control and I click the third octave. And now we have to set the notes again, because it is hitting, as you can see, it's hitting also the third octave. So let's do this. Again, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, G, like this. Very cool. Another cool thing you can do, if you're not sure which note is which, you can right click it and it will override all the different things that are happening, and you can hear this note and you can see, okay, this is the note I want. Just right click and hold it and you can preview the different notes and see if you like it or not. Okay, so now we have the sequence going. What's special about Scalar, again, it adds lots of feel to the sound because it introduces error to the quantization. So, for example, we can change the depth. So that now it's on 100%, so it will quantize everything 100% to the cent, but we can lower this by using this knob or modulate it again. CV input. Let's lower it, let's make it something drastically so we can hear it. So you can hear it's less quantized. On 0 it will not be quantized at all. But if we put it, for example, on, let's say, 98%, it's not perfect and it sounds organic. We can also change the tracking, again with the knob or the CV input. So how it will track across the different octaves. Let's lower it also, let's say 99.8, really just a bit, just to add this human feel, introducing error. And here also we have the warp function that will randomly introduce error to the quantization. Again, we can make it drastically, let's say 15%. But we can also do this really, let's say 0.3%. Very cool. Now you can see that I have the 3 octaves active, the first 3, and on each octave I entered the notes I want. So we can choose also for the first octave, let's say to take the D out. Again, in this case it's D because my oscillator is tuned to C. And we can take also the A flat out. On the second octave we can take the F out and the B, and on the third octave we can take, let's say, the E flat and again the A flat. So now we have even more variation in the different octaves. Now it all depends on how much voltage you put in. I mean, I can activate also all of the 8 octaves, but if I don't send enough voltage for 8 octaves, then it will not even hit this octave. I mean, so it all depends. So just imagine you're using sample and hold, for example. Maybe later we will make this, and very classical, yeah. Imagine sample and hold with a range, for example, 0 to 5 volts. 5 volts means 5 octaves, but you want just the first 3, so you just activate the first 3 octaves, maybe attenuate the signal a bit, and you can quantize it as you wish. You can really fit it in a certain scale in the scale. Let's add some delay also. Yes. You can also use this signal that's coming out of Entropia to modulate the feedback amount of this oscillator. Let's say something like this. Very nice. So higher notes will receive more voltage. So you can hear, if you listen carefully, you can hear that it's not perfect. The pitch is not perfect, but it's this feel. It has this feel to the sound. It's much more organic, much more analog, maybe, if you want. Okay, what else can we do? We can also offset the pitch by using this knob here, and we can see the values here. So if I want an octave higher, I can offset it by 1 volt, like this. If I want an octave lower, again 1 volt, negative 1 volt this time, which sounds nicer even now. Yes. And also we can use this offset to transpose the sequence or transpose the scale. This is a nice sequence. Okay, now what else can we do here? We have the octaves. You see it's now set on a variable, which means that in each octave I can enter the notes I want. If I click it once, I can make it shared. So now the octaves share the same notes. And again, it all depends how much voltage you put in. Can it be used to scale CV applied to parameters? What do you mean applied to parameters? I mean, it will quantize everything, never mind its pitch or if you use it for something different. What do you mean by applied to parameters? So this I liked actually with the variable octaves. Now, as I said also, those inputs and outputs are normalized, which means that now if I take, for example, let's take let's take the even 3 from Squinky Labs. So from those outputs we will get the same voltage, let's say. And what we can do now... Okay, so if you know, if you watch my videos, and I guess you do, otherwise you will not be here, you know how I love Quantum. I will load it for a second. Quantum from ML. One of the reasons I love it so much is because it has gate and trigger outputs to plug out of Scalar CV frequency. Yeah, totally. Listen, for example, like I've done now with the feedback amount, I could take it out of Scalar also and not out of entropia. And what you can do, slow cello like bass, just a second, Vim. So what you can do, you can, for example, if you have like a sawtooth or something, you send to a filter, and you send the pitch information not only to the oscillator but also to the filter's cutoff point, and you open the attenuator or attenuator, depends which filter you're using. It means that higher notes will get, the filter will be more open, and lower notes the filter will be more closed, so the bass notes will stay bass and the higher notes will have more overtones or harmonics, which sounds amazing. And it's also sort of a key tracking for filter, if you know what it is. So a key tracking for a filter, it means exactly this: higher notes the filter will be more open, lower notes the filter will be more closed. So you can use it also for this. Let's add slow cello-like bass. First of all, I want to show you something about the gate. So what I love about Quantum and why I use it also so often is because of the gates and trigger outputs. It means that every time there's a change in note, also it will output a gate or a trigger. Now here we don't have this function, we don't have a gate or trigger outputs. Yeah, don't have gate or trigger outputs, but what we can do, we can use a module from the AppleSense collection, which is called CV to trigger. Now you send a control voltage, you send usually pitch information, and you receive triggers out of it that you can use for envelopes, for example. So let's do something like this. Let's leave the first oscillator for the bass. We will come back to the bass in a second. Okay, I will use the two last oscillators on the even 3 to create a sort of Plucky sequence on top of this sequence. So let's see. I will add a VCA. Let's use the one from AS. Very nice. And another ADSR. Let's use again the one from AS because I will want to modulate maybe the decay time. So already the ADSR can modulate the VCA. Let's send the oscillators, again the last two, to the VCA. And what will pluck, or what will gate the ADSR module will be the CV to trigger. So I will send the output from Scalar. Let's say we have 4 here, so we can use it also with all 4 outputs. I will use the first one, and the first one will send the trigger to the ADSR. Let's take the sustain all the way down. Let's make it nice and plucky. So you see we have triggers out of our Scalar. Okay, and let's send this to the mixer. Let's pan one hard left and one hard right. Let's see. This is so cool. Okay, and what else I'm noticing here, because it's a trigger and not a gate, the envelope doesn't have enough time to open. So here we can use another module from Bog Audio, which is called D-Gate, and this will make triggers to gates, to longer gates, so the envelope will have enough time to open. So let's send this to the trigger input. So the CV to trigger module from AppleSense. Actually what we can do here, we also have a time function here, but usually it's not so. No, let's use the D-Gate. So again, the AppleSense CV to trigger to D-Gate, and then we have a gate output. And now the envelope has enough time to open because we receive gates. Let's add some reverb on those two. Can you hear the music loud enough? Very nice. And what I will do now is, first of all, I will take both of them. Let's solo them. I took them an octave. Okay, I took them an octave lower. And let's take them also a fifth higher, so to G. Very cool. What else can we do with them, just to add some more movement, is let's add also a filter. Let's use the one from Blemsoft, the F35. And let's send them, before the VCA, let's send them to the filter. So first of all, they will go to the filter and then to the VCA. And what I will do, I will change them to square waves. Add a bit drive, bit resonance. Very cool. And now what we can do, let's do something like this. Let's add an LFO. I will use the one from Bog Audio. Let's use also kinks, and I will use kinks also later for the bass. But for now, what I will do, I will send the sine wave to modulate the pulse width of one oscillator. And then the same sine wave will go to the inverter section of utilities of kinks. So from here we'll get the inverted, let me add a scope, the inverted wave. So this is the original one, and this will be the inverted one. Very cool. So one pulse width will move one way and the other one will move the other way, just to add some movement. Very cool. Let's make this a slow LFO, something like this. Open the pulse width modulations, attenuator a bit. Yes. Ah, Vim, now I can see you totally. Can see your picture also. Okay, now let's, I will show you this as an example, what I said before. Let's take the signal from Scalar to the cutoff point of the filter, and I will open the attenuator. And I will also use this to modulate the decay time. So now what happens? Higher notes, the filter is open, is more open, and also the decay time is longer. It adds even more movement. And again, those functions of Scalar, this adding this error to the quantization, adds lots of feel to the sound. Oh, okay. There are two Vims. Very cool. Nice. Cool. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, so this LFO is modulating the pulse width of the two oscillators, and you can see in the higher frequencies. Take a listen. Wait a minute, I will take a listen to this. This is a nice effect. By the way, Vim I do this a lot on the Neutron. Wow, now it reminds me, you know this movie from Van Damme played this Time Cop, I think, when he meets himself. Just don't meet now, both Wims. So let's use another LFO to modulate this LFO. Let's use the LFO. And let's modulate this LFO, the frequency of this LFO, to create this effect. Just to add some more movement to the sound. Movement is life. Let's take the offset all the way up. Make it again slow. Let's make this a triangle wave. It's not changing until I'm not connecting anything to it. So let's see, volt per octave. Okay, let's take the level a bit down and make it a slow one. Yes. Very cool. Okay, so now let's add this bass. Now we have kinks here. What I do a lot also in every video I make this. In each video I sample the pitch coming out of one sequence. I trigger it with a much slower clock and I feed it to the bass sound. So let's do this also here. Let's do this. Let's see. Kinks I have already. I want a filter that will filter just this voice, so I will use tangents because this is the filter I love the most. And I will do something like this. First of all, I will send to the input of the sample and hold, I will send the quantizer, Scalar, but I will trigger this with a slower clock. Let's trigger it with this clock, let's say 9 divided by 9. I don't know, let's see what will happen. No, this is much too quick. You can see here the lights go on. This is much too quick. Let's say divided by 17. Okay, and this will go to the first oscillator that we saved for the bass. Let's make this classic sawtooth wave bass. Let's take this a few octaves down. Okay. Very cool. Okay, let's see how this sounds like. Maybe we will have to attenuate this signal a bit. Let's see. Opala. What did I do here? Why there is no sound? Ah, because I'm on solo. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, here is another thing we can do. Let's use... Yeah, I said the neutron, this is... what did I want to say about the neutron? Yeah, about this pulse width modulation. What I'm doing, I'm opening the second VCA, and the LFO is modulating the pulse width. But what I'm doing, I'm always playing with the LFO rate, and I'm putting it really in audio range already, and it has this really nice effect to it. I do this a lot, just to add some texture to the sound. And I did it also here with the even 3. Now what I want to do here, I want to do this. When the note is changing, the filter will open. So I can use, of course, an envelope generator and trigger it with the clock. What I can also do, and this is also cool if you want to sync your LFO to a clock, so I can just use a slew limiter. Let's use the one from Befaco, and let's use also a scope. Let's see. Okay, and what I will do, I will send the actual clock to the slew limiter. Now the clock is a pulse wave, so I will send it to the slew limiter, divided by 17, and let's send this shortly to the scope. And now I will take the rise and fall times up, and look. They are too long. You just have to play with the shape a bit. I can also change the... So now I have an LFO which is synced to the clock. I can change again the times just to fine-tune it. So now I have an LFO, it's sort of a triangle wave sync with my clock, and this will go to the cutoff point. Very cool. Now this Scalar, this quantizer, can also load Scala files. And I have already, there's a link in the description to a website where you can get, I don't remember how many, but maybe a few hundreds at least of Scala files that you can load. And you have already your scales ready for you. You have weird scales there with all sorts of numbers of notes. This is nice. I mean, it's changing, it's ever changing, this sequence, but it's repetitive. It feels nice. Let's see, let's add another scalar. I'll just duplicate it so I have already the octaves and everything. Let's try this with sample and hold. So I've used here already, oh, you know what we can do also? To create 2 more sequences. We can use the logic section of Kings to create 2 more sequences, or we can just use sample and hold. Let's use sample and hold. Let's use brains. Let's trigger it with a duplicated clock. Let's duplicate it by multiplied, not duplicated, multiplied by 2. Okay, and let's send, so here we have, it will sample white noise, blue noise, pink noise, or red noise, or this is pink and this is red. Let's see. Let's have -1 to +1, or 0 to 1. This is just 1 octave then. No, let's use this one here. To the first input. So we can see already. Let's actually change the range to 0 to +10. What I noticed with Scala that it will not quantize negative voltages. So if you have the bass note of your oscillator, it will never go below this note with Scala. It's a bit of a shame, but that's the way it is. So what we can do, we can change the range of brains. Let's already change the panel here to dark matter by clicking this button. Let me zoom in. By clicking this button here, the right side will be 0 to +10 volts. So now we have just positive voltage, but we have 10 volts, which are 10 octaves, which is much too much. So what we can do, let's add another voice. What should we add? Something quick, something like an arpeggio, something like this. Let's use Basil, and let's use Slap. Now what I can do, instead of using another trigger to gate, I can just use the clock also to trigger Slap. And let's take this to the volt per octave of Basil. Basil will go to Slap. Let's take the sustain all the way down. Let's see what we get, if it sounds nice or not. Let's take a bit up. Okay. Okay, so first of all, the offset we can take back to 0. Let's take also the track and the depth. Cyborg! Hi. So I guess Mondays at 9, 8 or 9 is better, right? Last time it was Tuesday in the morning. Okay, let's again add some warp. So introduce random error to the quantization. Let's do 0.3%. Let's add reverb. Lots of delay. Let's actually take this one octave down. No, it's too low. So you can hear that the notes are repeating. Doesn't matter when you're unemployed. So the notes, because we have just 3 octaves selected and it will not go higher, so you can see that the last note plays almost all the time. So what we can do, just add a VCA, something to attenuate this signal, and take it down until it sounds nice. Yeah. And let's add another voice. another basal and another slap. This time we will send another sample and hold. Let's use another VCA. So another sample and hold output. This time it will sample from blue noise. This will go to input number 2, and the output will go to the second basal. It will go to slap, from slap, and then again to the mixer. Let's again pan them hard left and hard right. And let's see how this sounds like. We have to gate slap again from the clock. Again, what we can do, we can send the outputs also to modulate basal, the outputs from Scalar. So this will be 1, this will be 2, open the attenuators. Higher notes, more modulation. And again, here in the right-click menu, we can enable all notes or disable all notes. And we can also import a Scala file or export a Scala file, so you can save your scales in a Scala file and just load it whenever you want. And again, it's not set as a keyboard, so you don't see C, C sharp, D, D sharp, because it applies to what your oscillator is tuned to. So if your oscillator is tuned to A, the scale will be A something, major, minor, harmonic, whatever. And again, check out the link in the description. There are lots of Scala files there with all sorts of crazy scales. I'm not so much into this stuff. I'm more of a traditional but yeah. And again, we can change the number of notes. Let's change it to 5. Let's see what happens. So we get something like this. And up to 24. So you can have really micro tuning and all sorts of weird stuff if you're into this. Let's go back to 12. Let's actually do this. Let's duplicate this again. Where is it? Here. And let's make the connections to this one, because this is the one I liked before. Let's take the offset back and tracking in depth. Just the warp we will leave. Okay, let's have a listen to all the voices together. Oh, you already checked it, Cyborg. There are Scala files with more than 24 notes. Okay, did you download this package of Scala files? I downloaded it before. There are, I don't remember how many, but there are so many. Scales. Wow. Okay. Okay, I say let's do this logic thing that I wanted to show you before. What we will do, we need two more voices. Let's see. We can use two cosmic oscillators, maybe. Let's see. Or maybe two slicks, actually. Maybe those are better. Two slicks. Okay, and what we will do now, we have this here, a logic section in kinks. Two inputs and two outputs. One is a maximum. We will get the maximum values of both inputs and the minimum values of both inputs. So we can send, in this case, pitch information. We get two different sequences. So let's send first of all from the first scalar, and then from the second scalar. And let's look at it also on the scope. So those will be the minimum values, and those will be the maximum, or other way around. Those are the minimum and those are the maximum. Very cool. So let's send them to both slicks, and let's see first of all without an envelope. Yeah, kinks, Vim, you are happy, yeah? Look at this, you can do so much with it, it's crazy, really. It's a powerful module to have in your rack. Again, let's do this. Why did I do... Top, never mind. I forgot that this mixer is stereo, so instead of panning it hard left, hard right, I could just make it a stereo signal. This I will do now. Okay, let's listen just to this. Ooh. Spicy. Reverb, delay. Let's take the phase modulation all the way down for a second. When I will send this LFO to modulate the phase distortion of one. And again the other one through kinks, so the inverted signal. Oh yeah. Nice. This is so cool. Let's add some Euclidean drums. What do you think? I mean, it has nothing to do with Scalar, but I think it will fit the patch. Let's go with SNS from South Pole, it's the easiest, I think. Let's have 7-step sequence with 4 hits. Let's add, okay, let's go with tremor. No, let's do something like this. Let's actually go with the functional VCO. Let's make our own percussive sound. Hats, yeah, hats will also be applied soon. Okay, and let's add spank, also volt. Very nice. So now let's clock this just for a second. Let's use the multiplied by 2 clock or the normal clock. Let's use the syncopated cymbals. Oh, let's see. Okay, so let's use the normal clock, and let's reset also everything so everything sits nice together. Okay, now this will trigger spank, and spank, let's take a triangle wave to spank to the mixer. Let's solo this for a second. Very nice. Okay, now spank will also modulate the frequency of the functional VCO, this time through the FM input. Again, the FM, fast but not regular, like fast trills from time to time with lots of silence in between. Let's see, I'm not so sure this will be a kick. Anyway, the FM on the functional VCO, which is exactly the same like the fundamental VCO, it's exponential, it's exactly like volt per octave, like the volt per octave input. Just it has a, it has a dedicated attenuator. Let's take the pitch down. Let's see. The kick should be fast but not regular. Ooh, fast but not regular. I can add also pads, so it will add silence. Something like this. Okay, so this week I also worked on a video about Jira from Nischi. This was a request from my modular fun guys, Patreons. A video about Jira, and there was a cool thing I found out with Jira with hi-hats. Actually, it's also with the Nischi echo, so let's use the echo. Because it's mono, I just want a mono signal. Where is it? Nischi. What are so many? It's hard to find anything here. Echo. Okay. So what we can do? Let's create hi-hat. So here we have noise outputs. If nothing is connected to the trigger input, we have noise. So let's use another spank. and we will just send a white noise to spank. Let's go already to the mixer just to have a listen. Again, let's follow this. And let's trigger this with a multiplied by 2 clock. Let's see. Okay. Very cool. And what we will do now, we will send this first to the echo. And the echo also will receive a sync. We can sync the echo. Let me zoom in. Why am I so zoom out? We can sync the echo to our clock. So again, the multiplied by 2 clock. And now let's start adding some taps. No, let's sync it with a normal clock or with a regular clock. And I'm just activating the taps. And I don't like this. Also, I think I will do this with a different clock. I will divide the clock by 2. Clock divider, we have the one from SynthCat. Let's use a division of 2. Very nice. And I will use also a different clock for the gate. Let's use this. Okay. Let's use a different clock. Let's see again the multiplied by 2 clock. No, I don't like how it sounds. A mushroom pick, yeah. Irregular beats such as this Bernoulli gates. You want me to use the Bernoulli gate? We can, but let's see. Let's get rid of this. This was not such a good option here. And a Bernoulli gate. Let's use a Bernoulli gate. So let's trigger the Bernoulli gate first, and from there to the gate of the hi-hat. Let's change the probability. No, I'm open for stuff here, don't worry. And again, sample and hold to modulate the decay time. Just a bit. Let's see. Let's see now if I can modulate the panning. Last time I used this mixer, the panning didn't work. Or modulating the panning didn't work. Let's see. Now it works. Now it's nice, yeah. What happens if I add a clock multiplier from the clear factory before spank and then I multiply it by 2? Let's do this. Let's modulate let's modulate this ratcheting, let's say up to 3, with again sample and hold. Let's use this side here. It will not go to 3. Let's use the white noise. Okay, 3 anyway is too much. So now what's coming out of the Bernoulli gate or branches is also being multiplied by the clock multiplier, so we have this ratcheting effect. A bit more reverb maybe. Now what I will do, I will connect my KeyStep and I will start jam on it with a different voice. Or a guitar, for example, Cyborg. Okay, so this was Scalar. Again, there will come. You booked a video, yeah, it's because of me. There will be another video coming up soon, more of a tutorial video about Scalar. It's interesting, I like how it adds this movement to the sound because of its imperfection. I'm not so sure how much I will use the Scala files, but maybe I will find something cool. There are just so many files there in this. Anyway, go check it out, it's really nice. Okay, I think we are done for today. Thank you again for joining me. Thank you for your support. What shall I say? This is so cool. I'm happy that you made it. Last time it was too early. The patch Middle Eastern scales, yeah. The patch will be available on the Patreon page. If not later today, then tomorrow. YouTube needs its time to process everything. Thanks again. Thank you for your support, and I will see you next time. Cheers, guys.